Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
WHBC AM Canton, reliable as ever, powered by Friends and Family Credit Union. It's time to bring a friend into the family on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
The Kenny and JT Show, powered by Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Kenny, when McKinley basketball hit the milestone the other night and they win their 2000th game, the first person that came to mind for me is Ron Stokes, not only because he was a great basketball player at McKinley, but he joined us on a regular basis talking about Ohio State basketball. He's been a commentator there for a number of years. He's number 12 in your program, but number 1 in your heart, and he's joining us right now from Columbus, the one and only Dancing with the Stars alum.
Yes.
Ron Stokes. What's up, my brother?
Hey, JT. Hey, Kenny. How are you guys doing?
We're better whenever you join us, my friend, because it's always great to hear from you and so many things we can talk to you about. But as JT pointed out, McKinley setting the Ohio record with 2,000 career wins for the boys basketball team. And we had Coach Spoon in studio with us yesterday. He told us what it meant to him. What does that mean to you being such a big part of that tradition?
Wow. It's, when I'm traveling throughout Columbus and parts of the country, I do speak of my high school very fondly. When people ask me where I'm from, I say Camp McKinley, and then it resonates with a number of people because they hear the Bulldogs. They know about the history in sports, the excellence, the great coaches, the great players, all the wins, and then all the athletes who went on and done phenomenal things on and off their respective sport. Whether it's the football field or basketball court or whatever sport they might have played. But yeah, it resonated very well. And I knew at some point, sooner or later, we would get there because we have some other all-time records, right? One of the most appearances in the state in basketball and all the other accolades. So yeah, very excited and proud to be part of a few of those wins.
A few of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll say. Ronnie, you're one of the greats that ever played basketball at the field house for Camp McKinley or anybody else for that matter. And I asked Coach Weatherspoon this because obviously his family is just steeped in the tradition of McKinley baskets. I mean, when your great uncle is Nick Weatherspoon, we all know the name. But I don't remember watching Spoon play. What were your first early memories watching McKinley basketball?
It was Nick Weatherspoon and Phil Hubbard. Yeah, because, it was, I'm trying to remember let me take that back. My first incredible player that I remember was Phil Hubbard. Mm-hmm. I don't recall. I remember seeing Nick Weatherspoon in the pros when he's with Washington, but Phil was the first Bulldog that I resonated with. I would remember watching them on TV wearing the red and black in the States. And I always said, I remember talking to my brothers and sisters and my mom and dad that, man, I can't wait to play for McKinley. Mm-hmm. So it started back then watching Nick Weatherspoon in the pros and watching Phil Hubbard in the States. And then of course, being able to play there along with some of my best and dear friends today, and Troy Taylor and Jeff Shelton, among others. And then seeing some of the other great players who came after us, Gary Grant, Eric Snow, Raymar Morgan, Michael Hawkins, Keith McLeod, the list goes on and on. So many great players. I mean, I know I'm missing some great ones, but those are just a few that resonate with me right now. But yeah, it started long ago, and that's just the history, right? I'm sure somebody inspired Nick when he was there as a young person as well.
What is it about back in the day when we were going to high school, late 70s, early 80s? It seems like there was a pipeline of fantastic backcourt guys, and I can start with Greer, go to Nate, then of course yourself, Troy, and then others. What led you guys to be such great backcourt? I mean, all the guards that went to McKinley, for whatever reason back in that era, and even up until that day, and you mentioned some of the other names like the Eric Snows, what started this?
Wow. It started on the playgrounds. I mean, there was some incredible folks who were dedicated to helping the youth in Canton, Ohio. And again, the list is so long. I don't want to just list a few people because I don't want to offend anyone. But there's some great people that would support Troy and I and others. And so we would go to Nemasilla Park. We would go to all the different playgrounds throughout the city, and we would find places where the talent was, and we would just ball out, right? And so when you look at, Elmer Jackson, when he was there during his day, obviously I was a teammate of Nate Cooks and David Greer, and then the guys who played after me. There was a sense of McKinley pride that, like, man, I want to be like that backcourt that was before me. Right. And so then when we played, I'm sure when the guys who after us, like the Eric Snows of the world, the Gary Grants of the world, they wanted to be like Troy and Ronnie. So I think that's where it all started. We respected the players before us, and then we took upon us to carry on the tradition.
Ronnie, what was it like playing so many big games at the Fieldhouse? I'm not originally from here, right? So I've been here now 12 years. And last year I went to the playoff games that they held at the Fieldhouse, where Perry played and Louisville played, and the atmosphere was unbelievable watching it. What was it like playing in that facility in an atmosphere back in the day where I hear there was smoke in the rafters and, the atmosphere on the court was so intense, it was like an NBA game?
Yeah, you know what? Even when we played in that atmosphere, Kenny, I felt a little cheated a little bit, because I remember when I was a really young kid, and then when you had Timken, Lincoln, Lehman, and McKinley would play in that 4-team little series there. Yeah. And I remember going and watching Mike Midday before he went on, when he was at Timken, he went on to play at Indiana for a brief period. I remember watching that, and we didn't get a chance to experience that because Lincoln and Lehman became middle schools. So it was just Camp McKinley and Timken. But to your point, to your question, we shared the Fieldhouse playing against each other, and it was electric. We were very fortunate because we just happened to have some pretty decent talent. The McKinley fan base was incredible, and just coming there every game, it seemed like it was a sellout crowd almost every single game. And we were fortunate. We rarely lost in that building. I think a total of maybe 3 or 4 losses in my 3 years there. Wow. That we lost in the Fieldhouse. I know we lost there twice my junior year. We never lost there my senior year, and I don't believe we lost there our sophomore year. So maybe just 2 losses in my career in the Fieldhouse. So it was an incredible experience. The fan base was unforgettable how they treated us while we were Bulldogs.
So many big moments. And I can remember DeMatha came to town, and I also remember, did you guys play against Danny Ferry our senior year?
I don't remember Danny Ferry. He was after me, so that might have been Gary Grant era, but I did not play. But I do remember DeMatha coming in Columbus. Unfortunately, that was the time when we lost 2 games in a row in that tournament. We all thought the world was coming to an end when we lost those 2 games.
Well, I want to ask you this other question then, because we were talking about famous games, great games that we all remember. And unfortunately, I was working at the Desert Inn because my senior year in high school, I still had a job. And on the weekend, it was a tournament game at the Civic Center, and it's 5 overtimes against Canton South. What comes to mind when you remember that game?
Wow, the 5 overtimes against Canton South. I remember that for whatever reason, we just never felt we were going to lose. We felt that we were going to make the necessary plays. And I give a lot of respect to Canton South. That unfortunately for them, they had to go through us to get to the regionals, and we never would allow them to get by us. It's kind of like the Bulls trying to get by the Detroit Pistons, right? We wouldn't let them get by us. And so they competed hard. And that particular game, it went to 5 overtimes, and we just had a little bit more than they did. And we were able to win and go on to the next level.
All right. Somebody just texted me this, Ronnie. I don't know if it happened when you played or not, but somebody said, hey, my dad told me about a brawl between McKinley and South at the Fieldhouse.
Kennedy?
Was that during your era or before?
No, I was a player at that time, but it wasn't between us. It was, I believe the game was between Canton South and Timken.
Okay. All right.
And I remember the play vividly. Michael,
Kennedy.
Yeah, Mike Kennedy had just dunked, and I gave him some dap, and like said, hey man, for now, because I love the way he jumped. He and I would do dunk contests together in the summers. And then as we were leaving, something happened where somebody was pushing whatever. Next thing you know, there was a big brawl. And I don't think it involved any of the players. I think it was between the fans and the police officers. But yeah, I remember that. It was an ugly thing, but it was nothing between the players.
Oh, that, everybody has memories, back from in the day, and they're not always the same as when they happened 40 years ago. You know what I mean? But what you can't take away are the wins. Those are documented. And Coach Spoon said it wasn't just another game, right? They knew what was at stake at home. And you almost had to do it at home, don't you think, Ron? I mean, they've got Massillon tomorrow night if they didn't get it the other day. But you want to do something like that at home, don't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it lined up perfectly for it to be done there. And like you said, so much history. And I was talking to Ray Ellis earlier today, and Ray was saying, man, it would have been cool if we could have all came back for that. I said, well, the thing is, you don't know when the game's going to be and if you're going to win, right? You hope you're going to win. So maybe I told him maybe what we do is the next time we know that a bunch of McKinley Bulldogs are going to be back in town, maybe we can do some kind of little miniature celebration. But I'm telling you, I'm very proud of the fact, the school was named after a president that was respected among all people back in the day. And that's something that when I look at history and seeing that, what the school stood for, and the excellence in football and basketball and all the other sports across the board, women and men. And so I'm just fortunate and blessed that I played a small part.
Ray's got an excuse. He lives out west. You have no excuse. 2 hours away. You come to Canton. You don't call nobody. You've been doing this for years.
Dude, he had a game to call last night.
It wasn't last. The game was 2 nights ago.
He's prepping for the game.
He could have came the night before. There was no reason he couldn't. It's a 2-hour drive, Kenny. You get done calling a basketball game, you come back home. Let's go.
So Turk, this is what I'm going to do just to give you a little insight, because people don't realize how much prep work you and Kenny do to do what you do. You may talk for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, but you may prep 10 times that for your show. Hey, look, guys, we may call a game that may last 2.5 hours, right?
Yep.
But there's hours upon hours of prep.
Sure.
There's travel time, right? And again, I'm not complaining. I'm just mapping out. I don't think there's been a road trip yet that we hadn't landed prior to 1 a.m. in the morning.
Ooh, yeah.
And in some cases, we get home at 3 and 4 in the morning. And so then you got the next day and the next day. You get home at 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning on Sunday, coach's show on Monday, game on Tuesday, flying out the next day. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And again, I'm not complaining. I'm honored and privileged that I've been able to do this for 29 years. But some days it's tough, man.
Well, travel now is ridiculous.
Your back, Ronnie.
In that Big Ten now with 18 teams or whatever it is, and you got to go out to the West Coast. I mean, you guys took a trip. Didn't you say you had to be in Oregon, and was it UCLA? I know it was USC last night, but when you go out on the West.
I'll tell you. I'll break it down.
Okay.
So it's a 6-day trip.
Okay.
And you typically last year was UCLA and USC, and then this year was we played Oregon first, and then we went to Washington. So we had flight delays. So the team had to fly from Oregon to Washington, and everybody else had to bus 4.5 hours from Oregon to Washington. And then we flew back Sunday night and landed Monday morning at 4 in the morning. So that's the world of Big Ten basketball today. It's crazy. And I'm not a student athlete.
Right.
So this is crazy, but that's the way the world is today.
Yeah, no doubt. Ron Stokes joining us here on the Kenny and JT show, talking about McKinley's 2000th overall victory. And Ronnie, since we have you, the Buckeyes, I've watched a couple of games. JT's watched more than me. They've been struggling all year. They get a win last night, JT told me, over USC. What do they have to do to try and get in the tournament this year, Ronnie, from this point forward?
Well, I think when you look at last year, 10-10 didn't get it done in the Big Ten.
Right.
Didn't get it done. Mm-hmm. Right. I think they need to get to a minimum of 11 and wins in the Big Ten, and one of those games at least be against a quad one. Right now, they do not have a quad one win. Northwestern was flirting in the quad one area at one point, but I think they're back down to a 2. So they need to do some more work. I would feel more comfortable with 12 wins, but that's a heavy ask based on the remaining of their schedule. The big thing for Coach Diebler is continue to get his top players to fight like they did last night. They got a big opportunity Saturday against Virginia, which is clearly a quad one to get that win. So they need to get a minimum of one quad one win because the guys who are around them in the Big Ten have already got one. USC's got one. Yeah. Indiana's got one. Wisconsin has gotten one. So Ohio State needs to add that to their resume. I would prefer two. I know that's a big ask, but 2 quad one wins, getting the plus 20 total wins, I think they got a good chance of locking an NCAA appearance.
Real quick for our listeners who are saying, okay, what is a quad one win? Give them the cliff notes of what that is, Ron.
Okay, so there's these algorithms and these metrics that based on whether you play a team on the road, whether you play them at home,
okay,
what conference they're in, who did they play, who did they win those games on the road, did they win them at home, and it goes into this formula. And based on the formula, it will tell you whether a win at Wisconsin, right? Well, even if they're not a top-ranked team, could be a quad one based on the fact that you won on the road against a team that's got so many quality wins.
Okay.
And so that is just a system that evaluates the number of wins you got, where they happened, and who they were against. The key to it all, you don't want to have a quad four win or loss as a team that's typically a mid-major or lower. Right now, we're 6-0 against those teams, and typically those games are played in October and November in Columbus, right?
Yeah.
So those are quad four teams based on their schedules and their wins and their victories. So you want to be – North Carolina was a quad one opportunity, right? Nebraska was quad one opportunity. Michigan, obviously, because those are highly ranked teams, whether you play them at home or away.
Gotcha. That helps me a lot. I'm sure some of our listeners as well.
Ron Stokes,
hey, one last thing. I'm going to text Turk the link so that you guys can go and see the formula for yourself. So I'll text it to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. Ron Stokes is our guest right now. You hear him on every Ohio State basketball call. Ronnie, this Michigan team last night, even though Northwestern flirted with beating that team, they had to come back and beat them. Is that the best team in the country, Michigan?
I think they are because I've seen them firsthand, right? I have not seen Arizona. I have not seen them up and close. I have not seen UConn up and close. Seen them on tape. I've seen them during live TV. But the ingredients that Michigan has is that they have bench players that can be starters on a number of Big Ten teams. They have the depth, they have the shooting, and the big thing that I really love, they have the talent. And you got a coach that's been there already at Florida Atlantic, and Coach Dusty May. But the big thing that I think is the X factor for them is they got two big things. They got versatility in defending. You got Lindenborg, 6'9", being able to guard positions 1 through 5. And that's going to be important in close games in the NCAA. The other thing that I think is important, you have their best players that are team-oriented and will only want to win. And that makes the coach's job easier to be done with the other players. Lindenborg wants to win a national championship, and that permeates through the rest of the team. So I think talent, great coach who's been there already, the team-oriented mentality, and also the depth that they have. I think that gives them an incredible opportunity to win this whole thing.
Ronnie, when we look at the program, it struggled for years now. I got to go back, I think, to Thad Matta's time, right? When every year we were expecting to go to the tournament. Jake Diebler's in his second full season, correct? He took over as an interim, and this is his second full season. How is he handling all this? Because there's got to be pressure on him at a school the size of Ohio State to get this team back in the tournament. How has he handled this so far?
He's handled it well. He's a man of great faith and discipline. So he believes in a higher authority. So he's confident in himself that he's learning and growing as a coach. And he's attempting to do it the right way. Want the guys to play with a high basketball IQ, play hard, play unselfish. I think we have enough talent to be in the tournament. depending upon the seed, maybe make a couple wins in there and get in there a little deeper than you would think. So I think he's handling it well, but he also understands that it's not easy, right? There's so many dynamics to it. And then he's learning and arguably the most competitive conference in all of America when you look at the Big Ten. I mean, guys, if you go to the national stats, we have players in the guard position that's leading the nation in assists, 1-2. We have guys leading the nation top 5 in block shots, rebounding. Teams are leading the nation in scoring. You got guards that top 20 in the nation. There's 4 or 5 guards from the Big Ten, top 20 in the nation. Our league is as competitive as it has ever been, and he's a young coach trying to make his mark. So it is a big challenge for him, but he's close. And I'm hoping and believing that we're going to win enough games so we can get in the tournament.
Well, we're counting on you to break it down for us. Like I said, I've only watched sparingly, haven't been impressed, but I'm hoping what you just laid out, the play in the tournament, or I should say in the Big Ten, will maybe help them should they get to the tournament. And we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. And also tomorrow night, Ronnie, they're going for 2001 on the road at Massillon, your Bulldogs. How about that?
Well, hey, what better way to add one more against our rivals? You got to love it, right? The Michigan-Ohio State rival is right up there with McKinley and Massillon. So, let's get 2001 for sure.
Sounds good. Hey, Ronnie, we always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for joining us. Keep up the great work on the broadcast. We'll talk to you again down the road.